Hello, everybody. I'm the Transit Guru. New channel alert. I will be starting this channel called the Transit Guru, where I talk about transit related issues, transit facts, transit knowledge. I'll be specific to the United States because I am a United States citizen, but I will try to venture out across the world and try to include the world in my transit journey. Today for you though, I have a tier ranking video. Today I will be ranking 21 transit agencies in North America. Um, these 21 systems are considered heavy rail. If you look up the heavy rail by ridership Wikipedia page, I have included all but I think one system, which was the Staten Island Railroad, which I just morphed into the MTA New York City subway, just for my purposes and all the research I had to do for these 21 different systems. So my criteria for the um, tier ranking is number of stations, number of lines, miles of track, daily ridership, and how well the system is known to the world. So for each system, I'll be giving you that information and then ranking them how I see accordingly. Um, Again, this is only my opinion. So if you feel different, leave your thoughts in the comments. I will gladly look at it. I may not respond, but I will gladly look at it. And with that, let's begin. So first, and I'm doing this just in alphabetical order. There's no favoritism or anything. So the first heavy rail transit system is in the city of Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States of America, and that system is called MARTA. That's actually the system I rode on the most. I lived in Atlanta for 15 years, actually until the last 2 months. I've lived in Atlanta, but now I don't live there anymore. So under the criteria system, Atlanta's MARTA has 38 stations on 4 lines, 48 miles of track, um, and it has around 430,000 boardings every day, which I think is pretty good. But knowing the Atlanta system, it's a lot to be desired. There's a lot of holes in the system where it doesn't go. A lot of the major business areas, the system just does not go to at all. And if we're just talking about specifically heavy rail, it misses a lot. It does go to many major areas, but it misses a lot. So in ranking, I would give Atlanta's MARTA a ranking of a solid C. Next is Baltimore, Maryland's subway system, which is a integrated system with light rail as well, but I was able to get the information for just the subway lines. So only on the subway lines there are 14 stations on one line with 34 miles of track, and it has about 18,000 boardings daily. For for a city like Baltimore, um, I just feel like it's missing a lot of potential, even with its light rail. So, ranking Baltimore's subway system, I rank it a D. Oh, I forgot about the notoriety for the first two. So, Atlanta's I ranked as not well known because I don't feel like a lot of people know that Atlanta, Georgia, a southern city, has a heavy rail system. And for Baltimore, Maryland, I ranked it as known. I feel like a lot of people do know about Baltimore's transit system, especially because it is in that northeast main corridor of the country, of the United States. So I feel like a lot of people know about Baltimore. So next, we're going to go to the Bay Area, which is San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose's BART system. Now, this system is a little different compared to the first two systems. The first two systems were really inner city systems, but BART is more of a commuter system, but it's considered a heavy rail system, so it gets put on this list instead of a commuter rail system. Is really interesting. It has 50 stations on 7 lines, 131 miles of track, and 411,000 daily boardings. And I think it's a very well known system. I've known about BART pretty much my whole life, even before I started studying transportation and public transit. And I feel like a lot of other people know about BART. So if we were to rank the BART system, I would definitely rank it a B. And in my notes, I gave it a B minus because I think it could be a little bit more than what it is. So we're ranking the BART system in the San Francisco Bay Area a B minus. Our next system is the Boston MBTA. This was another integrated, hard to research system. So if there's some things off in the ranking of in the information that I give, please let me know. I love being corrected, so I have no problem with that. So MBTA has 54 stations on 3 lines with about 40 miles of track and about 510,000 daily boardings. And I think it's a very well known system. Like BART, I've known about MBTA my whole life. I think it's just one of the major legacy systems in North America, in the United States specifically, that we know about for public transportation. So in ranking MBTA, I give it an A. Next is the Patco Speed Line subway for the Northern New Jersey subway. Not that one. It's the Patco Speed Line for the Philly suburbs in New Jersey. Um, so that one line has 13 stations on one line, 14.2 miles long, about 38,000 boardings a day. And I don't think it's well known. I actually didn't know about this particular just one line system until recently, until I started thinking about creating this YouTube channel and doing all the research for it. But even with that, I feel like there's so much more it can do to serve those New Jersey suburbs of Philadelphia. I know those suburbs are important for the city of Philly, and I felt like the governments could have did a better job of serving Philly suburbs. So I give this system a C, and I would rank it behind Atlanta's system. The next system is the Chicago CTAL. I've actually rode the L myself. It was my very first public transit system I ever rode as a little kid. It's what made me fall in love with public transportation. It's a great system. Has some of the few 24-hour lines in the United States of America. I love riding the red line down the Dan Ryan in Chicago as a kid. So it's a really great system. The information on this system is 145 stations on 8 lines, 102 miles, 728,000 boardings daily. And I feel like it's a worldwide, everyone knows about the Chicago L from movies, public knowledge, pop culture. Everybody knows about the Chicago L. If I had to rank this system, and y'all are not going to be happy about this, but I would rank the Chicago L as a B tier system. It's a great system. I know it is, but there's something. All lines go downtown, and I just don't like that in a system. I think it's so inefficient, especially with our multimodal way of building now. And they haven't made that many changes in the Chicago system in a while. I haven't looked up if they're thinking about building some other type of train or have some type of modified bus to work with that. But as of right now, that's what pulls it down from being an A tier um, system. And I really hate that I had to give it that B. But it's a really high B. It's like a 89 out of a, if it was on a grading scale. Next is the Cleveland RTA. This is another integrated, multi different types of train lines. So I can only, for this particular ranking, I can only just take into account what's on the subway line, which is their red line. Cleveland's RTA has 18 stations, one line, 19 miles long, and about 26,000 riders daily. I think it's a well-known system. Again, this is one of those legacy train systems from the beginning of the 20th century. So, along with Chicago, New York, Baltimore, I think the Cleveland system is one of those legacy systems. But I can't rank this high at all. It's really bad. It had one of the lowest ridership stations with less than 100 boardings. I was like, why is the station still even open? Um, and I don't feel like they're doing anything with it to try to make it better. Um, so to rank RTA, it's going to get our first F for today. Next is the Los Angeles Metro Rail. Whew. Again, this is another integrated system, and I actually think the subway system in Los Angeles is the of all the different types of services that it has. I think the subway system is the worst of the different types of systems. I feel like Los Angeles had just really dropped the ball on that, and it shows with their traffic. But the information for Los Angeles is there's 22 subway stations on two lines. It's 22 miles long, with about 133,000 boardings daily. I don't think it's a well-known system. Los Angeles isn't known for its public transit, period, especially not its subway, which I think is relatively new compared to others in the United States. And I actually think their bus system is more well known with the articulated buses going down the long boulevards in Los Angeles compared to the subway and heavy rail systems. So to rank Los Angeles, I would rank it a D tier subway heavy rail system. Next is one of the greatest systems in the world, I hear. It's the Mexico City Metro in Mexico City, Mexico. Information on this system is 195 stations on 12 lines. It's about 200 miles long, and it picks up about 4.5 million people every day. I think it's a very well-known system. During my research, I learned a lot about Mexico City. And just learning about public transit, I learned that New York City wasn't the only great system in America. Mexico City was also top tier system. So to rank the Mexico City Metro, I would rank it as A tier and actually ahead of Boston's MBTA. Our next system is going to be the Miami system. I've rode this train when I was down in Miami a couple of years ago. I did not have a good experience. I actually saw some police brutality while I was on the train. Um, but even without even thinking of that, I just did not have a good experience while being on the train. Information about this system: there are 23 stations on two lines. It's 24 miles long with about 67,000 boardings a day. I don't think it's a well-known system. I actually think that Miami's Metro Mover, their People Mover in downtown Miami is a lot more well-known than the actual train is, the subway system. Well, Miami doesn't have a subway system because they can't build underground, but I actually think that the Metro Mover is a lot more well known than Miami's heavy rail system. So to rank Miami's, I am going to rank it as a D tier system, and I'm going to rank it ahead of LA. Okay, our next system that we're going to look at is the Monterey Metro Ray. This was a little controversial for me because it's not actually a heavy rail system, but it's included on the heavy rail list. They considered it a medium rail system because it has overhead catenary um, that powers it, but it's built to a heavy rail standard. So I included it on the list because it was on the list from the heavy rail. So I just decided to include it. So the information about the Metro Ray is 31 stations, two lines, 20 miles long, about 495,000 daily riders. I don't think it's a well-known system. One of the people I manage is from Monterrey, Mexico. He says Metro, it's just there. So it's not a big part of the city's life, but it's useful when it's needed. So to rank this system, I would actually rank Metro Ray in a B tier, behind everything else that's in the B tier. Next is the Montreal Metro in Montreal, Canada. I was actually surprised about this system when I was looking up information on it. There are 68 stations on four lines. It's about 43 miles long. It has a daily ridership of about 1.3 million people. And I feel like it's a known system. I didn't know very much about it, but being one of Canada's premier cities, and based off the Paris Metro itself, I feel like a lot of people do know about Montreal's system. Ranking Montreal's subway system, I will rank it as an A tier system behind Mexico City and Boston, though. Or I would rank it before Boston, but after Mexico City. Our next system is the Beast of the United States, the New York City MTA subway line, which I also included the Staten Island Railway into this. I don't know if all the information that I got off the internet was correct for it because there's a lot of different markers that people use to measure this particular system. But the information I got from this is there's 472 stations on 36 lines, 245 miles of serviceable track. It picks up about 5.5 million people daily, so 5.5 million daily ridership. Of course, it's a world recognized system. It's up there with like Moscow's, London's, Paris, places like that. Tokyo, which nobody could compete with Tokyo, but it's up there with it. So to rank this, I would rank this as the number one system in North America, A tier. If I had an S tier, it would go there, but I did not put an S tier on here. But it is the number one system in my opinion. Next is the path, which I actually didn't want to include on this list, but I fought myself and I won. So I included the path, which is for the northern New Jersey suburbs of New York City. Um, so it has 13 stations on four lines. It's about 14 miles long and picks up about 81,000 people. I think it's a known. I learned about Path during September 11th because I didn't understand the system. And it was shut down during that time and it was different. Um, I feel like Path has work to do compared to New York City and Staten Island. Um, so I ranked Path as a C tier, but I ranked it. mid C tier. So it's doing okay. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. Next is actually the newest heavy rail system in North America for Panama City, Panama. It's called the Panama City Metro. They just opened up a brand new, within the last 6 years, heavy rail system, and I think that's great. I wish we were doing stuff like that here in the United States, opening up new heavy rail systems. We are opening up a lot of new light rail systems and modified buses, but I really wish we were doing stuff like this. Information on the Panama City Metro: 29 stations on 3 lines at 22.9 miles long, and currently it picks up about 180,000 people in daily ridership. I don't think it's a well-known system. I didn't know about it until I started researching for this particular video. I can't wait to learn a lot more about this. I had a teacher from Panama City. I know people from Panama City. I know people that live in Panama City, Panama. They all love the city, so I know this is a big help for the city. Ranking the Panama City Metro, though, I rank it C tier. It's a new system. It still has pretty low ridership for a system in a big city like Panama City, and it has some work to do. I have did read while I was researching that they are, looking to add more stations and add more, um, and I know it'll slowly go up in the ranks, especially being a premier city like Panama City. Next is the most confusing transit system to me. I don't know why I don't get it. I don't know why I don't understand it, but I just don't. And it's the SEPTA in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, United States. It was hard. I think most of the information I got wrong on here, but this is the information that I could decipher from the Philadelphia transit system. So again, this is another integrated transit service. So it has light rail, buses, commuter rail. It has everything you can think of. So it's hard to discern what's what if you're not from there. But what I was able to gather, that the system has 53 heavy rail stations on 2 lines. Um, with 25 miles worth of track. It picks up around 330,000 people daily on the 2 lines. And I feel like the Philadelphia system, SEPTA, is a very well known system in the United States. Philadelphia is one of the most historical cities in the United States, and people know a lot about the city of brotherly love. I would rank Philadelphia SEPTA a high C tier system. It with that all that good stuff, I just feel like there's so much more that can be done with this particular system. Um, and I haven't seen a lot of plans for the system going forward. Okay, our next, our next system is the San Juan Metro or the Tren Urbano in San Juan, Puerto Rico. There are 16 stations on 1 line. It is 11 miles long, and it currently has a daily ridership of about 18,000. I don't think that many people know that San Juan has a heavy rail system, or Puerto Rico even has a heavy rail system. Ranking this particular transit system, it'll be our only other F tier. I feel like San Juan could use another line, maybe about 10 to 15 more stations. If I have any people from San Juan, definitely show me your maps of future train developments in San Juan and what else could be done to assist with the public transit in the city. Okay, so we're down to our final four. So this is another new system. This system started in 2008, from what I was reading, and this is the Santo Domingo subway, Metro Santo Domingo. There are 34 stations, 2 lines on 19 miles. It has about 173,000 daily riders. I don't think it's a well-known system. Again, I didn't really know about this system until I started researching for this video. I know that Santo Domingo is a large city with traffic issues, and just some mobility issues around it. I currently rank this system as a C tier transit system. Next is Toronto's transit system. I actually didn't write down the name of what Toronto's transit system was, the subway. I know it's another integrated system. I know Toronto has a large trolley light rail system, but this is just for the heavy rail system that is in Toronto. So, what I gathered from the research that I did is that there are 75 stations on 4 lines. And I saw that they were building 2 more through a private company that will actually run the lines as well. So I thought that was really interesting. There's 47.8 miles of track. It picks up about 1.58 million people every day. And I feel like it's a world-known transit system, like the other world knowns, like Chicago, Boston's, New York City. I think everybody knows that Toronto has a great public transit system, great heavy rail system. If you don't know a lot about it, you at least know it exists. So ranking this, I will rank this as an A tier system in front of Boston, um, but behind the other A tier systems. Next is Vancouver, in British Columbia, Canada. This is a system I've known about for a very long time. The details about the system is that there are 53 stations on 3 lines. It's about 49 miles worth of tracks, and it picks up about 526,000 people. I think it is a well-known system. I think a lot of people do know about the Vancouver SkyTrain and the just how great of a service it is. In ranking this, I actually rank this as a C tier system. I rank it as one of the top C tiers because I feel like there's a lot more that it could be done. Um, Compared to the rest of Canada's other 2 transit systems, I do feel like Vancouver is really lacking. I know Vancouver is very strict on transportation within its city limits and just that part of Canada because it's so beautiful. It's just really strict, so I think that may have hindered it a little bit. But I do think it's a great system. Finally, we have Washington, D.C. in the United States metro system. There are 31 stations. I'm sorry, let's start over. Washington, D.C.'s metro system. There are 91 stations on 6 lines, about 117 miles long. 626,000 is the daily ridership, so that's a good daily ridership. And I think it's a well-known system. I think everyone knows about the Washington, D.C. Metro, the Red Line, the trains under Congress, the secret trains that they have. In ranking this system, I actually rank this as a B tier system because I feel like there's more room for expansion. Washington, D.C. is a large, sprawling city. They could connect to Baltimore if they wanted to, because they're only like 45 miles apart. I know they have commuter rail that does that, but I feel like the heavy rail and just the build pattern of Washington, D.C. would allow for a slightly bigger city, and just what they currently have um, is great, but great can always be a tad bit better. So that was my current ranking of the heavy rail transit systems in the United States of America. I have New York City as the top and San Juan, Puerto Rico as the bottom. Just because I ranked the transit system in the bottom does not mean that I feel any type of way, hate the system because I love all heavy rail, I love all public transportation systems, but I just feel like they could be better. So going forward in the future, I want to do more videos like this. I really want this channel just to be the spotlight every major public transportation system that I can get my hands on to do research on. and give you a video. I want to do more tier rankings of the different types, so I think my next video will be either commuter rail, light rail, buses, which I will have to break up by region or by state. I don't know yet. But that's the kind of videos I'm looking to do. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment, good or bad. I don't care. And I can't wait to see you next time for my next video. Thank you.